it again. That is not the pettiest man alive, but instead, Petty Roosevelt in the building. Well, not Petty Roosevelt, but the persona of Hayes is in the building with us, ladies and gentlemen. My brother was good.
I was about to say, the co-pettiest man alive is in the building. I'm keeping up the same vibes, but I'm glad to be here. I haven't been on the breeze. I haven't been on the breeze in like a year and a half, bro. It's been a minute.
Bro, we've started the Daily Show and stopped the Daily Show multiple times since then, but it's here to stay. We got to chop it up with you guys because Bears Colts preseason week 2, there is still things to watch from that we actually need to clue in on. We'll talk about some of that. We'll also talk about, and here's the interesting part, why I wanted Hayes on the show in the first part. Why is the fighting good at camp? We'll talk about that as well and some of the people that we expect to see show out. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Hit that like button. Subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel. Talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. Make sure that you get in tune with us, man. Here's where we're going to start. And I'm gonna throw it straight to Hayes because, it's always good to have my brother on the show, man. We don't get to have him. Outside of Locked On Bulls, we really don't do a ton of shows together because we have so many other shows that we do. Yeah. But I want to get your thoughts on this. Week 2 preseason, some of the starters aren't playing, right? We assume DJ Moore, probably not. Of course, Justin Fields was the name that was brought up. I would also assume Darnell Mooney. Is there somebody on this team right now that you're looking at as we go into week 2 of preseason that you're hoping is going to be able to make a name for themselves?
Yeah, Roshan Johnson for sure. I'm looking at Roshan. This is an opportunity for him to probably get a lion's share of the snaps, so I definitely want to see what he looks like out there. And then also I'll say Velus. Like Velus, we've heard in practice this week, he's been used as a wide receiver. He's probably had more success as a wide receiver in practice this week than on special teams. So him getting an opportunity, because we know he's primarily a special teams and a gadget player, him being able to be used as a wide receiver to show what he's how he's grown in the position that he was drafted to play, I think is going to be important as well. And then anybody on the defense, Zach Pickens, Javon Dexter, see more of Noah Sewell if he ends up playing. But on the offense specifically, I'm looking at Roshan, I'm looking at Velus, and I'm hoping that they have big performances for sure.
I'm not gonna lie to you, and I'm a big fan of what Roshan's gonna come in and be able to do. I've said this multiple times. I think that Roshan Johnson, by the time we're at the end of camp, heading into preseason, maybe not by the last game, but right like week 2, week 3, I've said for sure by week 5, I think Roshan Johnson is going to be our starting running back, because I don't know if you got to see some of the clips that they had on Twitter just of how he prepares for pass blocking, how he prepares to be a blocker in general. At training camp, they use him a ton on the punt team as a blocker already. So I just think that fact alone is going to get him an opportunity. And what we see from him, listen, we interviewed him on the Chicago Bears podcast, and he has such an interesting way of looking at the game. I think I do have the clips in here. Let's see. Here's Roshan Johnson talk about just how playing the quarterback position actually helps him.
Yeah, Roshan, having played quarterback and having to understand coverages and things of that nature, and then making that transition to running back, how do you feel that helped you as a running back understand pass protections, different things that, defenses were trying to do that enabled you to be able to pick up that blitz from your time playing quarterback?
Yeah, I definitely think it helped in just flipping how I see the field. As a running back, you're always taught to, for one, look at the front and then look at the linebackers, where they displaced. Are they tipping off or giving any tendencies? Are they tipping off blitzes, things of that nature? But from a quarterback's perspective, you got to look at it the whole picture. So you kind of read the defense from top to bottom. So you're keying safeties, seeing how they play in relation to backers, and ultimately trying to get a beat on what they're doing through the safeties and then the nickel Sam. So it's just a way of flipping my vision to where I can see things before they're happening, as if a quarterback would. That I feel like a lot of running backs, they've never played the position that way. So it's not really something that they're used to doing. So I think it kind of helps me just identify things and just, even see checks before they're happening. It was good just to go in minicamp and just to kind of know what the kill play was, or if the quarterback was about to kill the play before he even did it. Just kind of seeing things before it happened. So yeah, it definitely helps me play faster.
I thought that was so impactful because it's something that we don't get to see a ton. By the way, tune in to Chicago Bears podcast Monday through Friday. If you can't plug yourself on your own show, where can you plug yourself? Hey, I mean, we get 100% honest, man. But like when you hear him talk about, right, what playing quarterback has done for his vision, and now we see the run blocking, right, does it feel like he's heading towards an opportunity this week to take over that starting running back job?
I mean, we heard at the beginning of this week he was getting reps with the first team, which is something he hasn't done in a while now. I think they're trying to bring Roshan on along slowly. I think they understand what they have in Roshan long term, and I think he's the best of both worlds, right? When you look at, he has the pass blocking that Khalil Herbert's missing. He has the combat. He can run in the middle. He can get on the outside. Like, I don't want to make it seem like he's a perfect running back because every running back has flaws. But I think, like, when you look at the limitations and things from the other two running backs that are ahead of him, in Dante Foreman and Khalil Herbert, he absolutely kind of brings that all together in one player. I really get Matt Forte vibes from him, and I know that's way too early to put that on him, but he's destined to be our running back one. I don't know if it's going to be this season like you, but he's going to be the running back one when it's all said and done. Well, that's for sure.
The reason I feel that way, right, and Matt Forte is a good one because when we talked to him on the Bears podcast, he talked about how when he started playing running back, right, Matt Forte was someone who he watched, but the thing for me, the reason I think he's going to be the number one is not because of just like watching him. It's because of what Ryan Poles said. Ryan Poles called him the day he drafted this young man a pillar of the offense, a pillar of this Bears franchise. First off, we call him running backs pillars out here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't.
He's not going to pay him like a pillar.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying, bro. Like, are we doing the pillar thing out here, bro? You're not going to pay this man like he's a pillar. He's going to be like, hey, this pillar costs $3 million a year. You know what I mean? But I think at the end of the day, right, the part that gets me excited about going into this game and being able to see Roshan is that I think that the opportunity for him to showcase what he can do with a quarterback who's struggling, right? Because here's the thing, Justin Fields makes a lot of things look good. Justin Fields not playing in this game means you're going to get P.J. Walker, Tyson Bagent, and Nathan Peterman. All three of these guys have struggled in camp. Tyson Bagent has been the best of the bunch to this point. But you're going to see Roshan Johnson out there with a quarterback who might be moving a little bit slower, which means he's going to get an opportunity to showcase that pass blocking skill. I think that's going to be huge for him heading into this game. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page if y'all have not done so already. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. The other person that I am looking very closely at, and I want to see if he's going to get time on the field, is Tyreek Stevenson. I going to be able to solidify his name in the number 2 cornerback race because I think he's coming in with a ton of confidence. He's coming in with some really good play, and I think at a minimum, right now he's proving himself with Terrell Smith being out as the best of the bunch as far as this DB room is looking, because to me, he's got the length, he's got the size, he's got the speed, and he already knows how to put all that together. What have you seen from Tyreek Stevenson that excites you, man?
Everything. Like, Tyreek Stevenson not only has the big playmaking ability, getting turnovers, he has the mindset you want from a big time corner, but he's just always, he's much like the same thing that I said about Jaquan Brisker last year in his rookie year is the same thing I'm saying about Tyreek Stevenson. He's always around the ball. He's a smart player. He doesn't back down. When you look at like the building the identity of this new defense, right? He's a pillar of that. When we talk about pillars, like everything that I see from Tyreek Stevenson, I like, and I think that when you factor that in and throw that in with the rest of the DB core that we have there, it's going to be special. I really do think we're going to have a special secondary when it's all said and done, and Tyreek Stevenson is going to be a big part of it.
I think that's the strongest unit on this team, if we've been 100% honest. You know what I mean? Like, I think that when I look at this DB room, I see a room of guys that, to me, I don't feel like I have to worry about any of them, right? Whatever you think of Jalen Johnson, I've talked about Jalen Johnson a ton. I'm not a big believer that he's going to get the money that he may be looking for this offseason, but I don't have to worry about him. I know he knows how to do his job. I think Tyreek Stevenson is going to be very similar to that. Kyler Gordon looks like in the slot, he's the most comfortable he's ever been on a football field right now. Yeah. And I love seeing that. I think this DB room to me is going to be one of the strongest. And as tough as it is to say right now, one of the healthiest, because the health of this team is not good, right? We talked about Cody Whitehair. We talked about some of the guys on the defensive line as well. We talked about the linebacker room with Tremaine Edmonds missing a ton of time, Jack Sanborn being very up and down. Like, for me, the biggest thing to take away is that this DB room, for the most part, is pretty healthy outside of young Terrell Smith, who, you know, he was making a name for himself beforehand. I think that's probably going to be our strongest unit heading into this season.
I agree. And I mean, overall, like when you factor in the DB core with the linebacking core that we have here, we haven't gotten to see them fully healthy as well yet. And then they're still adding more depth, right? We just added a linebacker who had 100 tackles last season and started most games, and he's our 5th linebacker on the depth chart. Like, we have so much talent on this defense. It's really about how it all comes together. And I think that Tyreek Stevenson, you already talked about Kyler Gordon now being in that nickel and how he's thriving in that role. It's going to be important. And I think the way that the pass rush and the pass getting to the quarterback, I lose my train of thought on the big stage here. The pass rush.
You saw that Packers comment, didn't you? You saw that dude with the Packers logo comment.
Listen, can I get him? Because I don't know what I can do.
We can fry on
We can fry. Because first of all, Petty Smalls, bro, you live in Wisconsin. I'm not going to argue with anybody who looks like raw chicken when they're naked. So shut the hell up, sit down, and deal with yourself, all right? But with that being said, this team is going to be on point, man. And I really do think that it's going to grow, and we're going to, by the time it's all said and done, Monsters of the Midway are back, bro.
Hey, Petty Smalls probably got a gap in the middle of his teeth, and that's why he don't drink drinks with straws. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, to me, when I look at right now, what I'm excited about, and I'm not going to lie. Listen, first off, it's football. I'm excited to see it. It's Bears football. I actually get paid to cover this team now, right? Like more than we've been getting paid. So like it's very exciting for me going into every single season now, and going into this season. What excites me the most is when I'm looking at the combination that Ryan Poles is putting together as far as building up multiple drafts in a row. We're not talking about young guys, right? The other thing that I'm really looking close at is, are we going to see the same game from Javon Dexter, or I'm sorry, from Zach Pickens that we saw earlier? Can we see it again from Travis Bell? Can we see that game? Can we finally get that game from Javon Dexter? I want to see those guys play, because to me, I'm pairing that with Kyler Gordon and Jaquan Brisker from last season. That's huge. Now you're starting to see a GM. We have a GM that can compound drafts. We have a GM that can build one draft on top of another draft. And of course, right, it's preseason. It doesn't matter at the end of the day right now. None of these stats count. But seeing guys that, especially versus a young man in Anthony Richardson, who I've heard is, listen, I don't know what he is, but at a minimum, I feel like he's an athlete.
Yeah,
like
that's fair.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Don't he feel like a black Josh Allen?
That's actually a really good comp. Yeah, he does feel like that. And I think, like you said, he's an athlete and he's going to be a playmaker. He's going to try to make plays regardless of how he needs to go about it. And I think that's a big test for this defense, especially considering that some starters aren't going to be playing. This is going to be a big test. And I think, us and how we got to the quarterback in the first preseason game, 8 pressures, 11 QB hits. We're going to need to see if that's going to be a consistent part of this defense for sure.
Yeah. And I fully think that, right, like that's the part that gets me excited, seeing if they can build on that, seeing how this defense is going to come out, because I think we all thought, right, this pressure's not going to be there that we need to make our DBs great. And then we watched the first game, we was like, oh, maybe it is. Now, granted, that's versus the 2s and 3s. You're not going to get that every time versus the 1s, but I really like the kind of setup that the Bears have. Hey, man, hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We got it. He coming back at it.
I saw him.
I know Diebeard ain't talking just for
let's get into that. First of all, I'm black and Irish. No, nobody die anything around here. But let's talk about the fact that you shape like a cheese curd, and your mama been out here selling food stamps, and y'all still broke. Bro, don't come with me on none of that, bro. You live in Wisconsin. You're not even a flyover state. Nobody but people in the state of Wisconsin care about Wisconsin. So take your cheese curd looking ass self and go back to your mama and make her apologize for birthing you.
Hey,
Let's keep it pushing.
The tough part. He frying. I don't think he's from Wisconsin. I think he's a Chicago Bears fan. Or Chicago.
That's even worse.
He's a Chicago resident that is a Packers fan, which is
those are the worst people in the world.
That you just got low self-esteem, and all the women you talk to are above 300 pounds. Like, come on, dog. Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just saying, bro. Like, that means he taking whatever he can get. It is what it is. Y'all named after meat packers. Pause, Steve-O. Jesus, brother, you can't. Come on, dog.
Yeah, Steve-O go right for the jugular, bro.
Steve-O know better than that. Come on, bro. Hey, man, we appreciate your opportunity to hit that like button, subscribe to the page. There's another thing that I did want to talk about as we keep on going with this, right? And while we have Hayes on the show, To me, what we've seen from joint practice this week that gets me the most excited is the fact that this Bears team is sticking up for itself. And this is because in my mind, right, I keep remembering, and I'm sure Hayes remembers this as well. Remember Tevin Jenkins sticking up for Justin Fields, getting a late hit on the sideline, runs over to, I think we were playing the Titans, right? Runs over to him. He's yelling in the dude's face, gets a penalty, a lot of pushing and shoving going on. And the turnstile that was at right tackle, I don't even remember his name. I don't even, he was from Seattle draft pick. He was useless. He was so useless. He spun around so much trying to block people, but he comes in yelling at Tevin Jenkins, basically saying, what are you doing? You're costing us a penalty. It doesn't matter that they hit the quarterback. You can't cost us a penalty there. Now we're seeing the camaraderie come together. I heard DJ Moore was throwing them things already in defense of Justin Fields getting knocked over. Yeah. Jermaine Ifedi, shout out to Dan Tavius, the most useless right tackle that I've seen in football. And ladies and gentlemen, we had Larry Borum last season. He's still on the team. Don't worry about it.
Bro.
But hey, what is your takeaway from seeing how much this Bears team scuffled in practice? Do you feel like that's a good thing, or do you feel like it's the Jermaine Ifedi way?
No, I definitely think it's a good thing because they're building their identity. This team isn't going to back down from anyone. And when you're a 3-14 team from last season coming into it, it's important that you have that mindset and that mentality and let everybody else know, no matter what, we're not backing down. And you're not about to hit our quarterback. I also love hearing that Javon Dexter, he didn't back down. And somebody said, I think it was Nicholas Moreno, was like, he threw a haymaker. It didn't hit nothing, but he threw one. Like that's what you want to see. Like too often last season was Justin Fields was on his back and nobody said anything, right? Like shout out to Justin for buying all his offensive linemen Rolexes because they ain't deserved not a lick of it. So like we definitely want to see everybody step up and have that identity, not back down. This is Chicago, right? And if you're gonna want the city to ride for you, you're going to have to bring home the identity of the city of Chicago. And that's the type of thing that is the identity of the city. So
no, and I agree with you, right? Like, because for me, one of the things that I questioned coming into this season was how quickly was this team going to grow? How quickly was this brotherhood going to come together? The number one thing that realistically I've seen taken away from doing the show with former Chicago Bears players is these mugs are a brotherhood. When I tell you, right, the episode where we had Devin Hester on, and Devin Hester and Jason McKee are sitting there joking back and forth, sitting there laughing. Devin Hester telling him, hey, man, chill out. Like, you can't be telling all the stories like that, bro. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? Right? And he brought Tommy Harris on. Tommy Harris joking with J-Mac the same way. How Lance Briggs is with J-Mac. And what you see is, wow, they didn't win a Super Bowl together, even though they made the Super Bowl. The brotherhood is there. The camaraderie is there. Hey, I got your back, you got mine. Literally, if you pick up a phone and call me, I'm there right now. That is what I've noticed the most from that. And I think that we're starting to see that. And Matt Eberflus talked about that with Justin and DJ Moore on today's Pat McAfee show, basically saying, listen, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, it grew quicker than we thought it did. Than we thought it would, I should say. Like, the relationship between Justin and DJ is genuine, it's real, and I think that these guys, to me, it's like I think they both realize, hey, man, it's not going to get no better than this.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
But, yeah, I'm encouraged by what we're seeing in this joint practice. Outside of that, though, I mean, realistically, what's your biggest takeaway from camp, right? Because to me, training camp 1 is done. All the training camp practices are done. But as we're heading into the season, what's your biggest takeaway that you get from camp?
That this team has depth. That this team has, like, Ryan Poles not only drafted a team that has a lot of talent on it, but the talent fits together. It seems like it fits together. And that's as important as just going out and getting great talent is how it all comes together. And so we're seeing a seamless fit with like so many things. And we're getting quality out of everybody. I think when you look at it, like this team understands the pressure and kind of the view that this team has on it and the expectations on them as well. And they've set their own expectations higher than what we could ever set it. And so I really do think that this team knows what they need to accomplish this season. And that's not to say that, you got to come out there. Got to stay healthy, things like that. But like, I don't think we're going to have a team that loses the close games like they do. Like, we lost so many games close. I think we're going to really bring it all together.
Yeah, I mean, like, no cap, when I look at heading into this season, right? You talk about the depth and you talk about how this team like I didn't think that we had the wide receiver depth that I believe we have now. I didn't think that we had the linebacker depth that I believe that we might have now. I didn't think we had the defensive line depth that I think that we have now. When you're talking about right going into a season where realistically the NFC North is up for grabs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, okay, how can the Bears go out there and get the job done night in and night out? Matt Eberflus's goal is to sit here and say, hey, we're going to all five of y'all or all four of y'all come out. We got a fresh four in. We're going to be able to keep that consistent pressure. And when you talk about setting the standards, right, like the standard that the Bears have set is not the standard that most fans have. What have we heard a ton of, right? If the Bears go 9-8, we feel good. If the Bears go, 8-9, okay, right? If Justin Fields plays well. That's not what we heard from 1920 Drive yesterday. We heard, hey, the expectation is to win the division.
Yeah.
That means this team is expecting to go out there and try and win 11 games. Because I think at a minimum, right, like what do you have Detroit right now? I got Detroit 10 wins.
It really comes down. Like I flip back and forth between having Detroit between like 8 and 10 wins, but Detroit is like, as much as I don't like to admit it, like Detroit's going to be solid next year, and so I can see what you're saying with them getting 10 wins. I just hope that they don't. That's it.
No,
I hope
listen, first off, we watched Detroit go to the playoffs and then the next year win 6 games, right? So for me, I'm not losing my mind one way or the other. Detroit got to prove it to me, but I don't feel like the NFC North is going to be as tough as a lot of people are. Like Vegas has us all bunched up, right? I think they have the Packers 7.5, they have the Bears 8.5, I think they have the Vikings 9.5, and then the Lions are at 10.5. But basically, we're all right there. I don't believe, like, I think the Vikings are going to fall off a cliff. I think they're going to be a 7 to 8 win team this season. Because
go
ahead.
No, I agree with like the Vikings. Like as much as everybody's like, I have not even thought about the Vikings like very much. Like, and that's not to say that you should like overlook the Vikings, overlook no team in the NFL. But I do see the Vikings taking a step back, and I do think it's going to be Detroit and us. And then I can't give any love towards the Packers. Plus, they got a weasel at quarterback in Jordan Love. But overall,
wait, a weasel, dog?
A weasel. Yeah, Jordan Love. Go back. You can't tell me. I am Weasel. Look at that. There's a episode where he played quarterback, and put that next to Jordan Love. They got the same body type, bro. Same body type.
Hey, wait a minute. The I am Weasel reference, bro.
I am Weasel, bro.
Versus IR Baboon, bro. Oh, God. The cow and chicken references I love. Yeah, I don't know how to take I am Weasel out of there. But to me, right, like I 100% agree that there's so many question marks with just Jordan Love. I kind of agree that he looks like a weasel. I'm not going to lie to you. Like he does have a little weasel face to him. But I think the Bears have a better opportunity than it's weird, right? Like this. Let me know if you get this vibe around Chicago right now. Everyone in Chicago feels like the Bears are going to be good, but we're all too scared to say it.
That's exactly. I think everybody's afraid to start saying it out loud because then, of course, that puts the expectation out in the universe. But I think everybody sees it. I think when you look at the people who actually follow this team day in and day out, the people who cover it, who are at training camp, things like that, there's a different feeling around this team than what it was last season. Last season, it was definitely a lot of, hey, we can't wait to see how Justin Fields grows. He's going to be the starting quarterback from week one. Now it's more of a, hey, this team is good. Yeah. So. Yeah.
No, yeah, I'm right there with you. Like I think that this Bears team, right? I think Vegas set the line to temper expectations. I think that most people are setting their win totals as, hey, we just want to see. This is what we want. It's not what we think can really happen. And I think to me, right, like if the Bears came out of the season with 10 to 11 wins, I wouldn't be surprised. It wouldn't shock me. I would be like, this is this is something that I enjoy. But I wouldn't be surprised by it. And I think that that's what gets me the most excited coming into the season is, right, like there's so much opportunity for the offense to grow, for something to finally be consistent, right? And I hear all the fans that are out there sitting there talking about, but if we're good, Luke Getsy is gonna leave us. Like, dog, we sound like the dude that's like, hey man, if I make this relationship successful, I might actually have to marry this girl. Like, but what if she leaves me? But what if she leave me, bro? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird dynamic, man. This is a Friday episode. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. B-Dog chiming in. He said, what do y'all think changed Ryan's mindset? Because initially after coming in, he said this thing ain't gonna be rebuilt overnight. Boy, did he fool us. It's not rebuilt.
Yeah, we're not done.
It's not rebuilt.
Yeah, we're not done.
Like, what do you like? I think realistically, right, rebuilt is, and this is where, to me, a lot of Chicagoans accept what they can get, right? I think that when we say the team has been rebuilt, you're competing for a championship. When we talk about the Bulls being rebuilt on Locked On Bulls, tune in with us Monday through Friday. We're talking about a championship is the end of the rebuild, or being competing for a championship is the end of the rebuild. We're talking about winning a division.
Yeah,
that's not in a division that's not very good. Like, where do you think, right? Like, where do you think we are realistically in the rebuilding process?
I look at it as this. It's a 4-step process. The first step was to eliminate and a lot of the dead contracts, eliminate a lot of the talent that was here that you didn't see long term with, replace that with talent that you see long term, and then now you're really laying in your foundation, right? And then so next step after that is the proof that it works, which is a division title. Yep. Then hopefully getting to being in contention for an NFC championship. And then that's when you start worrying about if you are a level where you can be looked at as a Super Bowl contender. We're halfway through the process, right? And he's done a really good job up to this point, but we're not fully rebuilt yet because so much of what we're talking about is just promise. It's potential. Until it's seen on the football field, it don't mean nothing. So
yeah, I mean, 100%. Like, I'm right there with you. The biggest thing that I want to see this season outside of development is wins. I want to see how much Justin Fields can actually, because here's the thing. I know Justin wants to win. I know that, I don't think that this is just I'm trying to make myself better and I'm trying to figure this out. I think we're literally at the step in the process where Justin is saying, I have all the things we're saying. I have wide receivers. I have a running game. I still have my legs. I have a better offensive line. I should be able to go out there and win. And that to me is why the Bears have so much of a buzz around them, because I think that the guy who's supposed to be our leader has a buzz around him. So I think we're heading towards, not only heading in the right direction, but I think that realistically, you're talking about a Bears team right now that could surprise a lot of people who don't believe in what they're going to do. And you're talking about a quarterback right now who could take the league by storm. And here's the tough part, right? We also have to – the toughest part for me is if Justin Fields comes out and has a 3,500-yard season where he throws 27 touchdowns and 15 interceptions, right? Like, we can't also come on here and be like, we got a franchise quarterback. Like, realistically, that's not what we're looking for.
Well, it depends on what he actually does with his feet as well. In addition to that, I'm just going to throw that little wrinkle in. But, yeah, I mean, Justin Fields has a lot to prove before we're ready to say he's a franchise quarterback. We can see the potential in it. We believe, right? But until it's something that we see consistently, consistent level of excellence. Hell, he's talked about wanting to be the first Bears quarterback to pass for 4,000 yards. He even said he can do it this season. All right, now show us.
Did he just Derrick Rose MVP us?
Hey, I said that over on Chicago Bears Central when it happened. Like, the last time somebody talked like that, he ended up being the youngest MVP in NBA history. So I'm not ready to say that Fields is going to win an MVP or anything like that, but I will say if Fields can put together a 4,000-yard season with passing the ball well and just quarterbacking well, right? His quarterbackmanship. That's what we need to see grow from him for sure.
Oh, 100%. I'm right there with you, dog. Like, it felt like why can't I be MVP? It's like, bro, I swear, if Justin Fields throws for 4,000 yards and the Bears make the playoffs, he might win MVP just because he said that. Like, I'm not going to lie to you. He might win MVP just because he said that. Hey, shout out to Petty Smalls. He said, sorry about the roast. Y'all seem like two cool dudes. Clearly, he's not familiar with our game.
Oh, yeah.
The roast is what made us like you. I'm not going to lie to you. Like the fact that you were a Packers fan, we had no beef with. The fact that you was roasting was cool. Like, that's what we was on.
Yeah, hey, listen, me and Pat are both two people that once the roasting start, we perk up some because that's what we about that life. So
Hayes has roasted NBA players and they've DM'd him.
Oh yeah. Jordan Crawford had to DM me. It's crazy.
That's what I knew we had to actually pay attention to what we were saying. Jordan Crawford sent you a DM talking about some, hey man, hey, it's family out here. Watch your kids. Like, what the heck, bro? Like, how much you get your lane?
Anybody can get it. That's all I can say. Anybody
man
can get it.
average like 6 points a game. Ain't nobody thinking about Jordan Crawford, bro. Yeah. Oh man, hey man, we appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man, to another episode of the Windy City Breeze. We're cutting this one short because it's a Friday episode. That means that me and Hayes both have some drinking to do. And if you guys are going to Bulls Fest tomorrow, make sure that y'all pull up on me and Hayes, man. Pull up in a kind way because we pack that thing too. But pull up on us, show love, tune in with us, rock with us, man, because it'll be an honor to see you guys tomorrow, man. And what you looking forward to from Bulls Fest tomorrow? What do we got on the Saturday slate that's gonna be lit?
See how much you eat.
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. Nah, I ain't gonna lie to you. This the real part. I'm not gonna eat that much because that food finna be expensive. Like, unless they got that Italian beef. That Italian beef me and you ate was fire up there.
Hey, yeah, that Italian beef was fire. They put the beef with the Italian sausage on the same sandwich.
Combination.
Man,
hey, I'm about to tweet that out. That's a tweet coming. you want the Italian beef or the Italian sausage? Combination. Pause.
combination.
Is that a pause? I don't know. Hey, man, appreciate y'all for tuning in and showing love, man. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Shout out to my brother Hayes for tuning in with me, man. Tell them where they can find you, brother.
You can follow me on social media at CEO Hayes, at CEO HAIZE. If you want to follow my YouTube channels, that's Chicago Bulls and Chicago Bears Central. It's two separate channels, Chicago Bulls Central, Chicago Bears Central. I cover both teams. You guys can follow me in either spot.
Stay tuned in with my brother, man. We both out here rocking. As always, it's your boy, Pat the Designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love. Bird on.